Hey everybody, this is Broke Nerfing here, and welcome to my interview series. I don't know if anyone's really waiting just yet because this kind of just starts live. I don't know how to set it where it says waiting, 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 not with doing hangouts, where you could have people waiting in the chat until you show up. Um, Let me go ahead and share this out really quickly to all the different groups I have and wait for some folks to come in. Boy, I'm sure glad I got my stuff all together. Oh, it looks like we have some people in already. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with Newport Nerfer 113. Let me open up the live right here. Hopefully someone's in there that can share this out too. Oh, there it is. Are you looking at the chat as well, Newport?
I'm not, but I can be. Let me have a little look.
Oh, it's okay. If you're not,
Oh,
I mean, I don't. Hey,
well, who've we got?
we have Aldos in the chat.
Hi, Aldas.
Aldos is here. We have Gigi Adams. Thank you
Hello.
so much for stopping by. We have Red Ninja Showtime. Thank you for showing up. We have Empires in the chat. Thank you for coming by, Empire. We have Test Luck. I don't know if I said that already, but we have Kurz, Tisha, my girlfriend. Thank you for coming by, baby. Alda says, OMFG, it's the Nerf cowboy himself.
I try.
He tries.
I try.
I was expecting you to have like a voice simulator to be like Sam Elliott.
That would be really cool. I do need something like that now you've said it. I'm going to
That
need to
would
get
be,
some. I was going to wear my duster, but I thought that might be a bit overkill. And I might get a bit warm.
or at least a Sam Elliott mustache.
Yes. I'm working on it. I got a really thin mustache and a goatee going on, but yeah, Sam Elliott has a
I
magnificent mustache.
Oh my gosh, does he ever, man? That's the mustache that dreams are made of.
Absolutely.
I can't really grow anything, man. I look like a friggin' I look like a high schooler when I try. It's
It,
terrible,
it
man.
took me ages to get this far. It really did.
Right Wing Daddy, thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. It's just Lish. Thank you. J4 UK, thanks for showing up today. I know you UK fellas. It's probably late. What time is it, Newport?
It's 10 past midnight. It's now
Oh
Tuesday.
wow. Yeah, we're over here. I'm on the west coast of the U.S., so I'm like super early. Most people are
Yeah,
like it's like yeah, most people are like 3 hours ahead of me, in the
right.
U.S. But, so
Yeah, I was
yeah,
trying to work out what time we were going to end up going on, and we've just had our clocks go back because of daylight savings. And I was like, this is going to screw everything up for me. I'm just trying to figure out what time I'm going to be on. Is it going to be 1 o'clock in the morning? Is it midnight? Is it going to be 11? I was just like, right, let's just wait until the clocks go back, and then I can figure it out. And it's midnight.
yeah, man. We don't put our oh wait, we did put our clock. Oh no, we put our clocks back. Wait, do we do the same time as you guys? I don't even know, man.
No, I let the internet tell me, and then I get on with it.
Yeah, I let my phone tell me. It just switches for me. I'm good. All right. See if I could share this to Facebook right quick, and then I'll go ahead and dive right in, man. If that sounds okay.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Shoot. Forget it. I'm having trouble with my phone. Let's just get on. I guess
Technical issues.
yeah, I mean, I was having technical issues. I showed up here, guys, and I was, and Newport came up on the screen, and I'm sitting here talking like a fool, and he's just staring at me with a blank look, for like minutes, and it felt like hours. And I'm sitting there plugging stuff in, and like I'm saying, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" He couldn't hear me at any of it. Finally, I figured it out, and I guess one of my USBs is bad. One of my USB cables is bad, and just I don't know. It was I thought I was gonna just have to use just the laptop itself, and have this for aesthetic. So yeah, let's jump right into this then. Hey,
Yeah, let's go
old
for it.
dirty ninja. Ninja, thanks for showing up. Make sure you guys support each other in the chat as well. You know, we all want to grow together, so make sure you're supporting each other. And Newport Nerfer 113, make sure you support him. His link is in the description of this stream right now, so make sure you check him out. Make sure you leave a like on the stream as well, and make sure you go to my Etsy store and buy one of these.
Yes, do that. Do it. Buy one of those.
Yeah, buy one of these sweet bro.
Buy 10 of them.
Shirts. Yeah, buy 10. Buy all of them, man. I got 30 of them. 30 of them ready to go. I just gave one here to the pastor here. I had to bribe him for letting me use this conference room. Isn't it pretty? Look at that. Look at me. Look at these digs. What? Moving on up. So, hey, Homely, thank you for showing up, man. Thank you so much. All right. So, Newport Nerfer 113, where are you from?
I'm from Newport.
No way.
Shock horror. I'm from Wales, which is in the UK. Hence me being up at midnight, and I'm from a grey, horrible little place called Newport. And the only fun we can have is with Nerf.
Is everything else banned there?
No, you can do whatever you want, but it's not the it's out of the way. It's probably, I don't know, probably like the 4th or 5th biggest city in Wales, and I probably pissed a load of people off by saying that. I probably got it totally wrong. But yeah, it's fairly large in comparison to there's loads of little villages and there's mountains everywhere. But it's one of the main ports used to be, and it was very industrial. So it's got that kind of backdrop to it. It's very working class area.
You know what? Gray and miserable sounds beautiful to me, man. I love the rain. I love the rain. I'm in California, and it doesn't rain here until like January, dude.
Let's swap, because I could do with some of that.
Oh, I would love to swap with you, brother. I totally would, man. Because the summers here are really bad. Like, I mean, I'm in the Bay Area, so it's not as bad, but
yeah,
it gets around like 90 sometimes, and that's still terrible for me. I'm like, oh my god, it's so hot.
to be fair, we because we're in Celsius, so I have no idea what 90 is.
Oh yeah, you guys are all
we flip. So recently, like literally this week, over the weekend, we had single-digit Celsius, so we were like, it was like 2 or 3 degrees. We had a wonderful summer, and it lasted really long, and then it just stopped. There was no sort of slowly winding down. It was warm, and now it's not. So you just don't have any time to acclimatize to that kind of weather. And then I guarantee next weekend it'll be 10 degrees warmer, and you'll be like, I'm just sweating and it's freezing outside. You just can't count on the weather being one thing or another. It's constantly changing.
So let me ask you this, man. What do you do when you're not Newport Nerfing 113?
Ooh, well, I've got a job, of course. Hard to describe what my job is. Geez, I work for the insurance division of a large bank. Probably shouldn't say any more than that. I'll probably get shouted out if somebody sees that. And I work with really boring stuff like SQL servers and databases and writing code and programming and all of those kinds of things. And that supports my family. I've got a wife and a 6-year-old, and they take up the other kind of the rest of my time when I'm not nerfing. It's sort of the nerf hobby for me has grown into something that lets me do all the things I wanted to do in a hobby outside of family life and work, which is like the trifecta of my life.
Does your wife fully support your hobby? Like,
oh, she's really happy.
Not this blaster.
No, she's really supportive. She's very happy. It mainly gets me out of her way so she can get on with what she wants to do. So yeah, I'm surprised she hasn't been kind of going around me going, you can't have that, you can't have this, move that out of the way, get these pieces of this blaster out of the way over there, and there's just nerfs scattered throughout the house. And she's incredibly supportive. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. My girlfriend Tisha, I got into this hobby in like February, and and I kind of got her into it, and she's like just super supportive. Like all my friends
Excellent.
that I met online, she like supports their channels, and she's just
Awesome.
yeah, she's really amazing about it.
Yeah, it really
So
helps kind of make it all work together. You're not kind of fighting each other for time or space and all the rest of it. My wife doesn't nerf at all. She's not really interested in that, but she's happy that I'm happy.
that's good, man. That's what's important. Do you play with your kid though, like with
Oh,
the blasters?
yeah, we have the odd plink around the house. He's more interested in trying to shoot me in the face with whatever he's got. It doesn't matter what I ask him to aim for; it's only the head that he aims for. But he loves, we have mini Nerf wars in the house and those kinds of things. But I can hardly use anything that I've got because I think nearly everything I have has been modded or is in pieces. So I've got like
Oh,
maybe a rough cut that I can use, and that's about it, I think.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense, man. Um, I know how it is playing with the little ones. You know,
Yeah.
there's we do the Nerf night at the church here, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I've seen
sometimes
some
get
of the
some
footage
really
for that. It's excellent.
yeah. No, I know the footage looks like really bad, but I'm sure
No, no,
the
no.
gameplay seems fun.
Yeah. Well, when you're in the game, the game is what it's all about for me. Um, if if I didn't have somewhere to take my blasters and use them, it almost feels like they're missing out and I'm missing out. And it's not just about the game; it's the community that's around the game, the people that you meet, the people you play with, and you basically being just big kids running around tagging each other with foam.
Yeah, definitely, man. Hey, we got Boom Tendo's in the chat. Thanks for showing up, Boom Tendo, my Boom friendo. Carlos Matthews, thanks for showing up. Treesy's here. Thanks for
Hi,
showing up,
Treasy. I know
Treesy.
Treasy.
Treasy, right on, Treasy. We have Nerfing Lionheart Customs. Thanks, Griever, for showing up, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get Griever on here sometime too. Been kind of booked up lately, but Griever, I'm gonna make room for you to be on my channel if you would be so kind to do so. Patricia Sprinkles, thank you, darling. Thank you so much. She's always super supportive. Um, David James, what's up, my friend? David James, he's another really supportive dude. Helps me out a lot around here. So let's jump back into this, man. So how long have you been in this hobby?
Right. So probably about at Christmas time, it'll be 3 years. The first Nerf blaster I ever picked up was Christmas 2015. I remember it because my wife and I bought my sister and her boyfriend a pair of strong arms, and they opened them up and started playing with them in the house. And then, kind of the day after, we went and bought. I think I bought myself a Retaliator. My wife got a rough cut, and we bought something else as well. And that was the first time I'd ever picked a blaster up. I'd had seen them before. I'd seen them out there and about there, and always thought they were really cool, but never really gone to the point where I picked one up and I bought one and played with one. So 3 years Christmas is how long I will have been in the hobby. And it doesn't feel like 3 years. It feels like it was just yesterday.
Everything does, man.
Yeah.
Everything
Just
does when
mind
you
blowing.
get older. Hey, Nerfer 99, thanks for showing up. If you guys have any questions for Newport Nerfer 113, let us know in the chat, and I will go ahead and ask him. So you've been in the hobby about 3 years now. When you picked up that blaster, was that a personal, or was it someone gifted that to you?
I went and bought it. So I went and purchased it, and I was looking at all the different ones that were out there, and I didn't have a clue at the time that modding was a thing or that there was a community behind Nerf. I had so much fun playing with a strong arm. I had to go and get my own blaster, and I didn't know which one I wanted. I picked up what was on offer. I think it was, we have these deals in the UK regularly at a shop called Argos, and it's normally like 2 for £30. So we'll get, you could get like 2 strikes for £30, or in this case, the offer was a bunch of springers. So I was like, well, I'll get what I want. And my wife wanted a rough cut, and because she liked the shotgun look. And
yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, and I wanted, I didn't know what I wanted. I had the one with all the bits on it, with all the different attachments. I just like wanted all the gadgets. So that was the one that I went for. That was just, it drew me in, and I was like, that's the one I'm going to have.
Hey, we got royalty here, man. We got Chris Cartea in the chat.
Hi, dude.
Hey, Chris Cartea. He was also one of my victims here on the series.
Excellent.
We're here with our latest victim, the Nerf cowboy, Newport Nerfer 113, and someone I really do appreciate and respect in this hobby. He does really cool gameplay videos. Of course, man. I've been watching your stuff for months now. I mean, I've only been in the hobby for months, but if I've been in longer, I would have been watching for years, you know.
Oh, you'd have been really disappointed with my early stuff, man.
I think all of us are disappointed with our early stuff. Yeah. I'm still in my early stuff.
Go back and look at it and go, oh, did I really choose to do that? Oh no, that's a bad decision.
Okay, so Nerfer 99 is asking, what's the first blaster you modded?
It was the Retaliator I got. So that Retaliator I picked up, I think within 2 weeks, I had found mod guides and videos on the internet, and I was like, what can I do to make this better, stronger? And before I'd found any other Nerf community, I'd found links to Orange Modworks, and I'd bought the Stage 1 and Stage 2 kits for the Retaliator. And then later on, I found out about Gavin Fuzzy and what he was doing, and ordered a pump grip kit from him, and that's the first mod that I did. So I think it had the 5 kilogram Orange Modworks spring in it with all the different bits and bobs that it comes with, the bolt sled and all the rest of it. And I just really liked the metal trigger because it was metal, and it made a really horrible thunking sound when you fired it. I was like, yes, this is what I want. So that was the first one that I modded, and that's been through several iterations. It's on version 3 or 4 at the moment, I think. It's got a Worker Stefan conversion kit in it with a 9 kilogram spring, same pump grip, but I've been through numerous bolt sleds. I actually snapped the Orange Modworks bolt sled when I put a 10 kilogram Nerf Turf spring in it. The blaster wasn't right after I put that spring in it. It didn't enjoy the experience.
Sorry, I got a message and someone said that my audio was coming in really faint and really low. So
I can hear you fine, but
yeah, I don't know. I think our audio in when we talk to each other on Hangouts is a little different from what they hear, I think.
Right, okay. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine, man.
Cool.
Just your accent I'm having trouble with. I'm kidding. I'm not.
Everybody does. I can't hear you at all.
Everyone's saying it sounds fine, so I don't know, man.
Turn it up.
Yeah, turn it up. Turn it up loud. Okay, so the first blaster you modified was the Retaliator.
It was.
Right on, man. Yeah, everyone's saying the audio sounds fine. Okay, I guess
cool.
They were tripping out. All right. Let me see what. So you've been in the hobby. You said you've been in the hobby 3 years now. Do you collect and modify, or do you just get what you like to modify?
I get what I like to modify. I wouldn't say I collect. Although I do have probably more than I need in terms of number of hammer shots that I've got. I think it was the beginning of this year, I had an idea, and it's still something I want to do, but I want to make a hammer shot gunslinger rig where I've got like 6 hammer shots on me. And I'll have 2 under my arms, 2 on like drop leg holsters, and 2 on holsters on my back. But they all need to be modded and painted because, well, I've already got one that I've done, and the rest sort of need to be very similar. So they're in pieces scattered around behind me. I just haven't got around to dealing with them, mainly because I absolutely hate sanding. I imagine nearly every mod is going to have something they hate. Most of them will hate sanding if they're going to paint anything, and I just can't bring myself to do it. I can see what I've got to do. There's so many different pieces, and I probably have a bit of OCD over sanding. I need to make sure everything's nice and smooth and perfect, and everything takes longer than I feel it does everybody else. So I'm like, well, I'll do the thing that I feel that I'm good at. And I felt that I was pretty good at doing the gameplay edits or getting better at doing those. And I have an equal amount of enjoyment. So I was like, I'll put all my time and focus into that. and then those hammer shots have just sat on the shelf behind me, just doing nothing. And eventually I'll get to them, but no, I'm not a collector. I'll get what I like, and then I'll mod it if I can, or it'll go. I'll have an idea for something, and I want to build something.
Yeah, honestly.
So I went a bit bitty there.
What's that?
Said you went a bit bitty there.
Oh yeah, that's weird. I haven't even began painting. I
No?
haven't even started painting blasters yet. No, I haven't. I need to start, but I just been really trying to learn how to do the internals.
Yeah.
Getting better at doing the internal modifications, and I'm more interested in the performance because I've done the competitive stuff with Jangler's BTA. So I was really set on learning to do that, and I'm pretty broke.
Function over form. Function over form. I've got a couple of blasters that I haven't painted, but and like you, I've gone for the internal upgrade. Like my Kronos has got a K26 spring in it, and I've done nothing else to it. But some of the blasters, I quite like the way they look anyway. A lot of them, the Mega Series blasters, the red and orange together. It's like I've got a Mastodon and I've modded that, but I have no intention of painting it. One, it's massive, but two, it looks really cool as it is. So I don't really want to mess with that. I've had this conversation with a couple of people where they're talking about, don't you want to not be seen? It's like, well, no, I'm dressed in a cowboy hat and a massive duster, and you can't miss me when I'm out playing. So why shouldn't I have the biggest, stupidest blaster that I can find? And that's part of the fun. If I can tag you with a Mastodon or a Centurion, then that says more about you than it does about me. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, Big Cousin Steve was saying that during his interview. He's like, if you can get tagged with a Mega Dart, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I've tagged quite a few people with Mega Darts as well. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and they sound so cool, man.
Absolutely.
So I mean, if you're into Nerf right now and blasters and everything, what were you into as a kid? Like, what kind of toys were you into?
Oh, Lego. I loved Lego. I still do. Anything that you can take from nothing and build something with. So as a really young kid, it would be like things like Play-Doh or plasticine, where you just build in things, and then it progressed to Lego and those kinds of things where you'd have. I remember having a Lego pirate ship that I loved, and like Treasure Island, and then it progressed to things like all the Star Wars, Lego, that kind of stuff. And then it starts to become really expensive, so you can't afford it. Who's going to pay £400 for a Death Star? Mainly Lego, and then it was video games for a long time, for a good, probably longer than it should have been. I used to waste a lot of time playing video games, right the way from when the Mega Drive first came out, right up to I've got a PlayStation 3 at the moment. I can't really justify spending the money on a PlayStation 4 because my PlayStation 3 is working. It's fine, and I don't have any time to play games anymore. So it's just a really fancy Blu-ray player.
Yeah, man. I never had the patience for Legos myself. No, I mean, they're so cool and everything, but I would just build half of it and then just kind of
get distracted.
Yeah, something else would come out that was even cooler. It's like, oh, I need that now.
Yeah, I'd always be like, I have to finish this. I can't leave it unfinished. It has to be done.
So I get it, man. Like, you like to build things, you like,
absolutely.
Making things. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Sorry, I was like trying to plug this laptop in. I realized that I've like half power and the power cord's not working. I mean, I plugged it in, unless maybe the light switch needs to do it. I don't know, man. I just hope I hope the power doesn't go out.
Fingers crossed it'd be all right.
Right? Oh my gosh. I know I'm drawing a lot with like the mic and freaking camera, so everything's running off of this little laptop right now. But I don't get why the power outlet's not doing it. All right. Do you have any other hobbies at the moment?
No, I don't have any room for any other hobbies. The amount of time that I spend doing the Nerf stuff. I used to a long time ago, I say a long time ago, probably 10 years ago, was quite heavily into photography. I used to enjoy going out, taking pictures, mainly of like landscapes and nature and that kind of stuff. I was never really into like portraits and self-portraits and the really artsy stuff. But I quite liked the process of going and capturing an image and then bringing it back and then using like software to take that image and enhance it and do something different with it. And that kind of probably when my little boy came along 6 years ago was just like, right, that's something I don't have time for anymore, along with a bunch of other stuff. I've got to reprioritize my life and focus on the little man. And then when he became old enough, and I kind of found the nerf, as it were, I was like, right, well, maybe I can combine a couple of the hobbies that I've always wanted to do or have done in the past with this one, which is probably where the video editing comes in, because I never was really massively into that. It was more photo editing, and then it's moved into sort of what I'm doing now. And I never once did I think I'd be on YouTube or sat here talking to you. It's just a whirlwind from start to finish. Really, it's a bit mad.
Okay, I'm gonna move down. I'm gonna try and move down the table here to get to another power outlet. But while I do that, David James in the chat asked, Springers, air powered, or flywheel? So while you're answering that, I'm gonna remaneuver here and try and get some juice.
All right. Hi, David. Right. Okay. This for me very much depends on what you are going to be using the blaster for. So if you're looking to be a sniper for long range, absolutely has to be every time air powered. High powered spring, HPA. For me, that's the only real way to get proper range. Whereas if you are talking close quarter combat, or you are looking to get into the thick of the action, if you want to be like the guy running through the door into the room, trying to do room clearance type activity, then you need a high powered, well, not necessarily high powered, but you need a flywheel, something with a high rate of can't even say it, a high rate of fire and a lot of mags on you. You're going to need to carry a lot of ammunition to be able to get through that door, clear the room, and then have some ammunition left on you in order to hold that position. Whereas with a Springer, traditionally, there'll be low rate of fire. You'll get 1 or 2 shots off, and then you're likely to get tagged, and you have to go back and respawn. For me, very much depends on the role that you are planning on playing in within the game. If you're talking something like humans versus zombies, where it's you against everybody else pretty much, then I would go for something small like a hammer shot that you can easily top up as you go, and you're not having to carry a whole bunch of mags on you. You're going to be agile and mobile. But if you're talking a tactical game where you've got multiple roles, you'll have people with the high-powered blasters that will sit back and pick people off at range, and then you'll have people who will be busting through those doors to take objectives, to flip your flux points, to take your timers, and that kind of works both ways. So it really does depend on what it is that you want to do with it. And that's what I like about this hobby is you can pick and choose. You can choose to do one or the other, or both even. You could have a high-powered, air-powered rifle blaster as your primary. You could have a fairly decent flywheeler as your secondary, and you can switch over. So if you come up to an objective, you just switch over to your high rate of fire blaster, go through the room, and then you can take a position in a tower, and then you're back to being a sniper again.
I got some juice to my laptop now.
Excellent.
Man. Thank you so much for
monologuing.
No, that was great. There was another question I saw there I saw back up there. He said to ask you about your deploy.
Oh, that's on the floor behind me. I have got a deploy, and I have plans for it. I haven't quite finalized what those plans are yet. What I really like to do, or try to do, is I love a good sleeper where it looks stock, but it absolutely is not. So you turn the corner and you see something like a rampage, or you see something like a deploy, and then suddenly you're looking at it going, that's never going to get me. it's too far away, and then you get tagged in the chest because somebody's put something really silly in it. I plan on doing something with it, but I'm not entirely sure what. So now that is it Flywheel the World has come out with all those tiny little flywheels and cages you can put in stuff, I might try and do something like that. But I think my original plan was to try and get some sort of probably the Retaliator Stefan conversion kit from Worker and try and fit that in there. That was my intention with that, to try and turn that into something that's a bit more high powered, shoots half darts. The only thing I'm trying to get my head around is the rotational mech on the magwell. I know I could lock it into place so that it's stationary, but I really like sad as it, I like the way the deploy, when you click the button, it just all unfolds and then suddenly you've got a blaster out of nothing.
That is actually pretty cool, man. Like when because I was kind of new and someone brought a deploy to our Nerf night and everyone's like, oh my god, you actually brought that, I'll pay you money, I'll pay you $5 if you get a tag. And I was like, that thing's dope, man. What's wrong with it?
Terrible performance. The performance is awful. Somebody once said to me that there's no way that it could fire a half dart out of it, and I was like, I bet it can. And it can, but it goes about 3 feet. And it's hilarious. What else? I lost a bet to L11 and Dave RA, or rather L11 and I lost a bet to Dave RA all around the Rugby World Cup. And one of the forfeits was I had to run around with a deploy, and that was hilarious. I think I put a 35 dart drum in it, and I think I maybe got about 10 shots off, and it didn't hit nothing. There was no chance I was ever going to tag anybody. It was just so much fun to run around with it, and it was more distraction techniques. Look what I've got. While you're looking at me and laughing at me, somebody's tagging you from behind.
Actually, Newport Nerfer asked a question. He said, "What's your favorite mod that you've done?"
Now that's a good question. I've got a couple of really good ones that I am really proud of. There's two of them, and I'm going to go on a mini rant here. So mini rant warning.
Rant away, my friend.
Rant away. I like to name my blasters. If I've spent the time and effort to make something, I'm going to give it a name. And two of the blasters that I've named, Hasbro has later come out with blasters of the same name. Now, I'm not saying that I've influenced them at all, because I know I haven't. It's pure coincidence. It just enrages me. One of them I call the Regulator, and I've got that by my side here. That is my hammer shot. Hopefully you can see that okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
That's got a blaster parts kit in it with a spacer and a spring. It's got a Jace 3D turret, barrel, cylinder, whatever you want to call it. And then I painted and hydro dipped it, which was, I think it was the second thing I ever hydro dipped. So that was a learning experience for me. That's probably the one, that was my first, what I would call proper mod, where start to finish, I had an idea, I knew what I wanted to do, and then I executed that. That's probably, that was the first big one for me. And then the other one, where did I put it? Oh, the other one is Hades, which is my Strife, and that is over here. Now, I'll show you what it is. It's a black blaster, and I know that not everybody likes a black blaster because you're likely to get shot by like real guns. This is a private field use only blaster. This isn't allowed out in the street. It's not allowed in the park. It's not allowed at the chapel that we play at. This is airsoft field only, so that I don't get fatally wounded.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to make that clear, because a lot of people, a lot of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, I'll show this off because I'm really proud of it. And they'll be like, "Oh, you can't have a black blaster." I was like, yeah, I can if I look after it properly and I don't be an idiot by going and waving it in the street or threatening somebody with it. So this, for a long time, was planned to be my secondary. I've been using it as a primary more recently, because it's the only thing that I've got that's powerful enough to compete with some of the stuff that's on the field when we play at foam fling and skirmish. But this had its own hashtag for a little while of I think it was the most expensive secondary ever, because I poured so much money into this that you can't even tell some of the stuff that's on it. It's like it's got lots of switches and buttons. It's got a kill switch. It's got a voltmeter. It's got the only purple voltmeter that I've ever seen on there. I've never seen another purple voltmeter. It's got like an artifact trigger by the. I left the trigger lock in it because that's probably the only lock that I actually like on this blaster. It's got a bunch of Jace 3D printed parts on there. It's got something from a company in Germany called Terran 3D Print. They printed me this stock end here, and I spent so much time and effort trying to make it look not stock. It's got the Chris Vector kit on it, but I specifically wanted it to look like a pistol. I didn't want it to look like the typical Chris Vector kit with a long skinny barrel at the front and the stock on it. I wanted to wield it as a pistol, and I know it's rather large, but I'm pretty large myself, and I think I can pull it off. Whereas somebody who's a bit slimmer, it wouldn't look quite right. So those are the two that probably I'm most proud of. The hammer shot being the first one, because I run that more regularly. That's my go-to blaster for humans versus zombies. Whereas Hades only comes out probably a couple of times a year when we go and play at our airsoft site.
Nice, man. We actually have 20 people in our watching right now.
Hi, guys.
Thank you so much. We have Nerfing Jack showed up. Thanks, Nerfing Jack. We had Uniquely Jacqueline. They Call Me Socks showed up. Thank you so much for showing up. Should I just call you Socks? Or do I have to say They Call You Socks? And who are they? Yeah, everyone seems to like that strife, and it is really awesome, man. That is really cool.
Thank you. Yes, I probably spent about 4 months modding it, getting all the parts together, all the internals, because it's got full rewire. I think that's my first. That's my second official MOSFET build that I did, so I could use all the clicky switches, but keep all the high-powered current out of the grip. Not that I've ever had any problem, but I try and, because I'm part of the BritNerf community, the forum there has some excellent resources on how we can mod safely and try and come up with some sort of standard way of doing things that's safe for everyone and fairly easy to do. So I'm following the best practice at the time. Things have moved on since then. There's easier ways to do things, but at the time that was the best thing to do. Now you can buy like MOSFET boards where you literally just solder a couple of tabs together and pop it into the blaster and you're good. There's so many other ways of doing it as well. You don't need that. But because of the way that I wanted to mod this one with all the different bits and pieces in there with, say, the on-off switch and the voltmeter, it was just the easiest way to keep all of that current away from all of those other bits as well.
Yeah, right on. Someone just asked, who was it there? Griever. He said, any plans on making a DIY/NIC blaster?
No. short and sweet. I don't think I would have I'm a patient person, honestly I am, but I don't think I'd have the time to fiddle with it enough to get it to work the way that I wanted it to. I like reliability. I want to, point my blaster at someone and vaguely sort of get a dart going in their direction. I know for a fact if I was to try and build my own from scratch blaster that I could be doing it for ages and ages, and it would probably break me. Probably because I'm probably too much of a perfectionist when it comes to some of those things. And before I would want to show it off to anybody, I'd kind of have to have it working almost perfectly, because it represents me. And if I was to take something out and go, yeah, I built this thing and it's amazing, and then it just farts a dart out, I'd be like, oh well, that's embarrassing. Yeah. And I would be that embarrassment would be what would be stopping me from doing that, because you probably get it to a point where you go, yeah, that's fairly reliable, and then the one time you show it to somebody, it doesn't work, and you go, right, I have to go and take this away and work on it some more, and then they're back to square one.
We have Ouchie. He says, Ouchie said, keep the interviews coming, Broke Nerfing. Really been enjoying them. And says, Nerfer, Newport Nerfer, your gameplay videos are stellar, which is true. Really
Thank you.
stellar.
Thank you very much.
And Socks is asking if you're a fan of Rival.
I am, yes. I've got a Chronos. I have plans on getting some more, but it's one of those things where I've invested a lot in my current setup for things like 18 dart mags. And if I wanted to properly get into Rival, other than buying something like a Nemesis, which is awesome, but it's just like a spam cannon, I would want something which probably takes mags. I would have to switch my loadout up and change that over a little bit. And that's just added expense that is just not possible for me at the moment. So I'm going for things where, like the Chronos, this is my first kind of dabble into Rival. It's all internally chambered. You don't have to have anything like an external magazine. You can top off as you go. I would be interested in getting something, which is the, I've tried the Hades. That's the long one with the 60 dart capacity, I think. And I wasn't fussed on the grip. The grip felt a bit odd and the stock was a bit short. But something along those lines, like a Springer that lets you just swap a mag over. I would prefer to pick my shots than spam. So at some point, I'll definitely get another one, and probably more than one. But I'm kind of, I was drawn to Mega until my Centurion broke, and now I'm upset with them. So I'm sort of trying to save up enough to get a whole bunch of half dart mags for my Retaliator, so I can run that more regularly. Because at the moment, I'm having to borrow mags off a couple of my mates.
Sure. So Aldos is asking how long it took you to edit the long game video.
Are we including time to render and upload, or are we just talking about hours spent me in front of the computer, because they are two very different things?
Pick one.
Right, okay. Well, I can tell you both. So I spent probably the best part of 35 hours editing the long game. That includes watching all the videos, sorting all the audio out, deciding what I was going to include in the video, and then making all of the additional kind of effects that I laid over the top of it. And then it took 10 hours to render the first time. But I noticed within 2 minutes of watching it that I made a spelling mistake on something. So I had to fix that, because that wasn't going to do. And then I had to render it again. So that was another 10 hours. And then it took about 16 hours to upload, because my internet is poo. It is terrible. It took forever to upload. And I was sure that my computer was going to restart during the middle of it. I kept going back to it and checking on it. So yeah, it took as long to render and upload as it did to edit it. It was just crazy.
Internet being poo, I understand, man. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here doing this interview, man. Wow, yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand. You know, it takes time because the quality is awesome. You know.
Thank you. But that one in particular, I had a real vision for that game. I knew what I wanted to do. I was able to get some additional footage. I'd already planned to do myself and the static cam, but NG was like, I've got footage that I'm not going to do anything with. Do you want it? And I was like, yes, give it to me. And then I sat through 4.5 hours of footage just to get the bits that I wanted to get into the long game. And then I cut that down again. So I think after the first pass, I had something like an hour and 45 minutes of footage, and then I whittled it down to about an hour, maybe an hour and 5 minutes, something like that, and then the rest is just me talking.
Nerfer 99 is asking what your favorite line is, your favorite Nerf line.
Oh, it's got to be Mega. It's got to
Oh,
be.
right on.
Only because of how silly it is. Because most of the time, we'll be playing at Bristol Blast, which is all about fun. It's not serious at all. And I like to be able to mix it up my loadouts. I like to go and hammer shot for HVZ or Chronos for HVZ. But I love breaking out the Mega blasters. So whether it's the Mastodon or used to be the Centurion, or I got a couple. Excuse me. I've got a couple of Magnuses that I modded. Those things are always, because people are always looking at you going, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And it's like, because I'm enjoying myself. Why don't you do the same? It's the one that makes me smile the most. I have fun with all of the others, but it's a different kind of fun. Nothing takes me back to the feeling of when I was a kid playing with those Legos like it does a Mega Blaster. And
Right.
It doesn't make sense because they're so stupid, and they're so silly. But that just is what it is. I can't explain it. It's the way it makes me feel when I play with them.
Yeah, and that's excellent, man. I mean, that's exactly what it should be, though. It should make you feel like, it should be fun first and foremost.
Absolutely,
it shouldn't be so serious as some people take it. It's like, why so serious, man?
Absolutely.
Some people just like in these groups. Some of them are just like, man, it's like,
yeah.
Do you even have fun with this?
Yeah, and this is the thing. Everybody has a different way of, or everybody has fun differently. We can all have fun together, but we don't all have to be exactly the same. That would be so boring. If everybody was exactly the same, they'd be like, well, you're just little robots running around playing with the same blaster. Just what's the point? The whole thing about the hobby for me was I was able to express myself in a way that I'm not able to express myself anywhere else. I couldn't walk into work with this hat on at all. I probably could, but I would get some very strange looks, and people would just start. Yeah. They'd be like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" No. I wouldn't do that.
Clowny's in the chat. Hey, Clowny,
hello,
what's up, man? So, what's your favorite brand though? Like out of all, there's like the Nerf, the Dart Zone, a Boomco. What's your favorite brand?
Well, I've only really dabbled with one, and that's the Hasbro Nerf brand.
Oh wow.
Mainly because that's all we can really get over here. Some of the other brands are starting to appear now. Did you say it was Adventure Force, one of them? I'm sure that they are starting to appear in shops. You can get Boomco in some places, but Nerf and Rival are the most easily accessible in the UK. Not all of the blasters are kind of released here, so you have to kind of go overseas to get some of them, and then you get import duties, and it just becomes really expensive to bring something in that should be really cheap. I'm not sure we get any Busby over here. If we do, there's not many of them. Some of the people in the hobby have started buying in bulk where they can and then selling them on over here, so you can get some of the stuff. But the Nerf brand is massive. There's hardly anything that really competes now. I think maybe it's Zuru. Is Zuru the ones with the X shots? Because I've seen them about quite a bit now. They might be the other off-brand that's quite big in the UK. But Nerf is everywhere.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. Like not just in the UK, but other countries that don't get anything other than Hasbro, which kind of sucks, man. Because there's a lot of the cheaper alternatives that have awesome performance right out of the package, and some countries aren't getting any of that.
Yeah, that sucks because, like you just said, there are some blasters that are much cheaper and the performance is better, and we just don't have easy access to them.
Absolutely.
And I see a lot about the thrifting. Guys going out to all the Goodwill type shops. We don't have an awful lot of that here. We have, if we're going to find it anyway, it might be in a car boot sale or something broken on eBay that you've got to try and fix. A lot of the community will trade with each other, and they'll do it at good prices. They won't try and rip each other off. And there's lots of swaps going on. They'll swap something for something else, and that works quite well, particularly with the number of Nerf events that there are in the UK at the moment, you can't go a weekend without having something going on, so somebody can bring something somewhere. If they wanted to do that, that's probably the easiest way. The community is really friendly with each other as well. They've got nothing but good things to say about them.
Let me ask you about your channel now. How did you get started on YouTube first and foremost?
Right. Well, so that's probably a question that follows a different question. So I started, excuse me, my channel officially started like late July 2016,
okay.
Which was after our second Bristol blast, and I'd bought a camera. Excuse me. I bought like an action camera, a cheap action camera off Amazon, and I was adamant that I was going to record everything and I was going to make some gameplay footage and put it out there. And another one of the guys, Dave R.A., he did exactly the same, and he gave me his footage, and I spent like two solid days just making videos out of the games that we played. And then I was like, right, well, how am I going to get this out to the people who played? And there was no intention of trying to make a channel out of it. It was a place to put my gameplay videos so that I could share it with all the guys who would come to the event. And then it kind of grew from there.
Okay, so you kind of you just got the camera specifically to record your gameplay footage and just kind of share it. You just wanted to share it with the people that played, and it ended up becoming a channel. Right on.
Absolutely. Man. Yeah, because I didn't start wearing the hat. The hat's got a story all on its own. But I didn't have a YouTube brand identity or anything like that. I was just me. I had a logo that looked like some darts that were spinning around on them with my name underneath it that you couldn't really see properly. And I thought it was pretty cool, but it was just, it was kind of, it'll do, because I just need something that isn't the blank space that YouTube gives you.
Yeah. So how would you explain your channel if someone doesn't know about you whatsoever? What would you say?
I would say it's mostly gameplay. So if you want to see some first-person Nerf gameplay, I've got lots of videos, lots and lots of videos for you to look at, with the occasional random blaster overview or mod guide. Not really a mod guide. I've done the occasional mod guide, so it's mostly about the gameplay with occasional nerfiness thrown in, which will be around a blast that I've modded. I don't do reviews or anything like that, so I won't get like a new blaster and show you all about it. There's enough of those out there. What I will do though is I will show you what I've done to mine to improve their performance, and I'll try and back that up with some numbers so that you're able to see that I've put it through its paces, and that I haven't just put 5 darts through and picked the highest FPS and gone, oh look, it can shoot 150. It's like, no, that's an outlier. I want something that's statistical. I work with data, so I want something that is statistically robust, that I can go, right, the average across 50 darts is 85 FPS. That's pretty much what it's going to get. So yeah, if I'm talking to somebody, you're going to have lots of gameplay with the occasional blaster overview or mod guide thrown in. Right
on, man. Yeah, there's a lot of review channels out there. Like my channel, I didn't want to start it. I didn't want to do blaster reviews because there's so many blaster reviews out there, and I know I'm not going to do them any better than that are already out there. So I decided just to kind of show, inexpensive things and the cheaper way to kind of do things. And I review gear when, sometimes they send me gear to like look at and to test, and I'll review those, which I think kind of fits to the theme of my channel, because a lot of things I get sent are inexpensive or, cheaper than, the Hasbro stuff.
Yeah.
So, it kind of fits.
Yeah, absolutely fits in.
Right on. Homely just said Mega is so fun. Yeah, I do. I only have one Mega Blaster, but I do like.
What have you got?
I got the Cyclone Shot.
Oh, excellent. That's what I haven't got that one. I've got, I think, 4 or 5 Mega. I've got 2 Magnus, a Mastodon, a Broken Centurion, and is it the Big Shock or the Hot Shot? what's I think it's the Big Shock, the one that's a mega jolt.
Oh yeah, that's a big shock. Yeah.
Yeah, got one of those as well, and they've all had something done to them, so they're more powerful.
Cool, man. So I've been on YouTube about 3 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mainly gameplay footage. So tell me about the hat, Dan. It sounds like there's a cool
Right, the hat.
story there.
I wouldn't say it's cool, but there is a story.
Well, it's a cool hat.
Well, this is a cool hat. This is version 2. So it probably starts before my first Nerf war. So my first Nerf war was May 2016. I'd been into Nerf for about 5 months. And Brit Nerf had put on a Bristol Blast 1. So I went along with my Retaliator that I modded, no hat. And they wanted somebody to take Bristol Blast and make it a regular event. Like, okay, I might be interested in that, but I'm not ready yet. I've been in the hobby 5 months. Somebody else stepped up, Jay and Fusion, if you know Fusion on Foam Alliance UK, that channel. Those 2 guys stepped up and said, "Yeah, we'll run it." So they arranged the second event, which I went along to. By the end of the second event, Jay and Fusion had been joined by myself, L11, and Dave RA. So that became the core team of organizers for Bristol Blast. The third event was in September 2016, and the day before, the venue pulled out. So the day before the war, we had no venue. We had loads of people come in, but we had nowhere to play. So we ended up playing in a public open space. We contacted local law enforcement and explained what we were doing. And I decided that I needed to be visible. I needed to be in the middle of a park where there's loads of people. I needed to be different from everybody else. And all I had was an old wicker cowboy hat. So I was like, I'll wear that and a high-vis vest. You can't miss me. You can't possibly miss this 6'2", big bloke who's wearing a cowboy hat. And I spent the entire day in the hat, and by the end of the event, the hat was almost part of me. It was odd. People would be like, "Go and speak to the guy in the cowboy hat," or go. It was just. By the time I got to Bristol Blast 4, I was like, I need to take it with me now because it's become part of my nerfing identity. Really, really stupid. I couldn't nerf without it. Really couldn't nerf without it. So I took it with me, and then I'm not sure exactly when I got this one, but at some point I was like, I need to get something that is a bit sturdier than wicker cowboy hat. So I found this online, and that's it. I ordered it, and now it's now part of me. I think the first time I ever did a video introduction, I did it without the hat, and it felt totally weird. It's really odd. It makes no sense, but it's almost like I'm putting the hat on, and I've become somebody else. It's like you put a cloak on or a coat on. It's like a suit of armor. I'm Newport Nerfer 113 when I put this on, and when I haven't got it on, I'm other me doing other things. It's odd. Can't explain it.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's cool. It fits. It works. It's a good deal, man. It's really cool. So the community out there, you were mentioning Brit Nerf.
Yes, Brit Nerf.
That's an organization that's out there.
Yeah, so there's a massive forum in the UK. I think it might be one of the only forums in the UK where the British modding community kind of comes together. And the forum's really used as a place to ask questions, speak to more experienced nerfers, find out a bit more about what's going on in the community. Basically get help, or using what other people have asked previously to help you. So you kind of go in, you can search for a question, have a look, and that might help you without having to actually post something yourself. You don't need to be a member of the forum in order to use it. You can go in and you can search it. You can have a look. Obviously, if you want to post something, you've got to be a member, but you can use that resource to further your own modding or nerfing experience. If you want to see how to run a game, there's information on it. If you want to try to figure out what your first war loadout is going to be, what should I run if you're not entirely sure? What's a good kind of catch-all for most first Nerf war experiences? That stuff's on there. If you want to, I think I did an idiot's guide to hydro dipping that I put on there that got stuck in the vault, and the vault is something. It's like you know, where they have like stickies. We have like a sticky post at the top of something. This is like a sub form that contains really useful information in there. And there's loads of chrono data. If you want to go and see a stock blaster's performance, you can go in there and have a look at it. If you want to see a modded blaster's performance, you can go and have a look at it. If you want to try and figure out what the best motor battery combination, you can probably find it in there somewhere. It's just a really good place to go and speak to like-minded people. And generally, as with most forums, people are welcoming. They will welcome you in. They will answer your questions. They will give you the time to take the time to answer your question and tell you what to do. Now, you don't have to necessarily do that, but if you get an answer from someone, you can at least read it and go, yeah, I can see where that's going, or I can see that, or I don't understand this bit, and you can start like engaging in a dialogue with them. You can have that conversation. And it's all there for everybody else to see. They can come in and go, oh, I tried this and this thing worked, or I did that and that worked. And then you can kind of work out what's the best course of action for you. It might not be any of them. You might go, well, that's given me some ideas to go and do this thing. It's just, I find it's a really useful tool for me. And there's like a Nerf Wars section. So the UK guys can go and see what's on, basically what regular events are happening. And where are they, and when are they, and which ones can I get to? Because there's loads of events all across the UK, and this is kind of, it seems to be the most central place to go to try and find one of those events.
Yeah, I have a friend, Matt Von Nerf. He's out in the UK, and I mean, the way he speaks, it makes it sound like there's like nothing going on. Well, at least where he's at, it's like nothing happening there.
Depends on a lot depends on how far you're willing to travel, and lots of people have different definitions of how far is too far. So we've had players from Scotland travel all day to an event in Manchester. I think that's like maybe 4.5 hours.
Was that Monkeytron?
Yes, he travels a crazy amount. He's a really nice guy as well. He travelled down to Bristol Blast. He's been to one of our events there. He's been all over the place. I think he went to Endor as well. He's amazing.
Right on. Someone was just asking. Oh, it was Aldos. He asked, "What's with the 113? Why not just Newport Nerfer?"
This goes back to when I was in school. And I don't know. Well, I say I'm fairly old now. The internet had just come out, and it was just a thing. And we all had to make usernames and stuff. And I think they want the username I was kind of given was something. They were, oh, but you can change it if you want to. And I can't remember what it was, but it ended in like 123. And I was like, well, that's not good enough. I'm going to do 113. And that's as stupid as it was, because I was just like, I don't want it to be 123. I'll make it 113. And then that kind of stuck. So other usernames that came along, I just tagged that onto the end for no reason other than to be the same as all the other usernames I used before. So when this one came along and I had to create it, I actually kind of regret calling myself Newport Nerfer 113 because it's so long. I shorten it to NN113 generally when I'm like posting on forums and stuff. But it's too late now. My channel's Newport Nerfer 113.
You're stuck with it.
Exactly, yes. I can't do anything with it. So the 113 is nothing other than me not wanting it to be 123 when I was like 14.
Gotcha. Hey, Nerf Block's in here. Thanks for stopping by, showing your support, Nerf Block. We got OC Nerf is in the house too. Good Vibes, South Carolina, or Good Vibes SC. I'm assuming that means South Carolina. Pardon me if I am incorrect on that one. RZ Rider, thank you for stopping by. We have Surveyor Geek. Thank you for showing up. That's okay, Geek. Making sure it wasn't Greek, and I'm calling him a geek. We got Tom Woosley in here. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. Remember to like the smash button. Like the smash button. So what's your local community like? How is your local community for Nerf?
Oh, they're excellent. We have to travel about 40 minutes to Bristol, which is where we play regularly. But there's people that travel from all around that come to that. We've got players that travel like regularly 2-3 hours to kind of come to us. But you've got two different elements to the community. You've got the modding community, and then you've got the kind of the family element. So Bristol Blast is very much about the fun family Nerf event type stuff. So you get modders coming along, and you get families with their kids coming along, and everybody's really friendly. We've probably got, I'd say, 30 odd regulars that regularly come along, and then you constantly get new people coming in and go in, and not everybody can always make it, but the community is excellent. They're really supportive. They help us with the events. I think I've said it many times before. We couldn't have a Bristol Blast without the people that turn up. It would just be 5 guys sat there being rather sad.
Depressing blast.
Yes.
So what is Bristol Blast? Let everyone know what that is.
Well, most of the UK guys should know what it is. And if you've watched my channel, you'll have seen many videos from Bristol Blast. So Bristol Blast is the actual event that we organize. So we run a monthly event. We try to do it on the 3rd Saturday every month if the venue will let us. And basically it's 4 hours of nerfing for over 8s. So we've got if you're under 16, you have to have a parent or guardian with you. You just have to, because we're not a babysitting service.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can get involved too. They have to be on site, but if they want to play, they're more than welcome to play. And we do all sorts of things. We've got a loaner bucket where they can borrow a blaster. We've got eyewear, so they can borrow eyewear. You have to wear eyewear. We provide all the darts. We won't fill up your mags for you. You can do that yourself. And yeah, we literally just we get the venue from, say, we turn up around 11:30 in the morning, and we kick off around 1, and then we play until about 4:30, 5, and then we clean up and go home. And that's regular. That's every month except December normally, because December tends to be a busy time for the chapels with Christmas and all those other holiday things.
What type of games do you play when you're there?
We play, it's normally really fast-paced games generally. Humans versus Zombies is a staple, so we play that regularly. We get between 3 or 4 games of HVZ in a day. And then we'll play some team-based games. So we might play a team deathmatch. We might play a game of domination where you've got to fight over timers. It's a bit like King of the Hill, but you've got multiple timers to kind of fight over. We play Flux, where you've got to tip your Flux tiles over. What else did we play? We played Carpe Testiculum recently, where you've got to go and collect the balls, but that was probably the first time we played that in a little while. So we're a bit rusty on that one. We used to play Bomb Run quite a bit, but we never really got the dynamics for that game quite right, where we thought it was working really well. It would always get really confusing. Kill Confirm's a fun one, but we've kind of dropped that from our roster because we found that as players were getting better, as they were playing better, the games would last longer, and people who got tagged out in the first couple of minutes would be sat in the safe room waiting for the game to end, and that's not what we want. So we've started introducing games where you're only a couple of seconds away from respawning and getting back in the game. So even if you get tagged out, you can run back to your respawn and you're back in the game. You're not sat there waiting for the game to end, bored, or you paid for the time, because we're not for profit, absolutely not. But we can't afford to pay for the darts ourselves, because thousands of darts are expensive. So to cover dart loss and dart breakage and that kind of stuff, there's a small fee that we charge, and that goes straight back into the games. That we put that right back into all the equipment that we buy, and the insurance that we have to have, and the darts that we need, and all of those kinds of things. So that's it's important to us to be able to do that, otherwise we couldn't put it on. And it really is a community event. But in terms of the games, they're mostly, say, either it's almost like half HVZ, because they're really fast-paced and quick and everybody loves them, and then half semi-strategic tactical type games where it's 2 teams versus each other.
Cool, man. Sounds really good. OC Nerf just asked how your long shot's coming along, and that question came up like 2 or 3 times, and I forgot to ask.
That's right. It's in pieces. Bits of it are in my kitchen, bits are in my bathroom, bits of it are behind me, and it was going really well until I messed up painting the stock, and I really upset myself because it was my own fault. It was perfect until I screwed it up. So I've kind of had to set it aside and just not think about it for a little bit and calm down, because I'm going to have to resand the whole thing, and that just annoys me. So it's coming along. I started paint. I've got an idea on internals now. I wanted to do another part 2 video on my long shot, but I wanted to wait until at least the stock was painted before I kind of move into the internals and start thinking about sanding the main part of the shell. So slowly is probably the answer you're looking for. It's coming along slowly.
Yeah, I have a few projects that are coming along the exact same way.
Yeah.
We have Wolfpack Nerf has just joined us. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thanks for joining us, Wolfpack Nerf. We're here with Newport Nerfer 113. If you haven't checked out his channel, please check it out. And remember, you guys who are in the chat right now, and anyone who's watching, make sure you guys are supporting each other's channels and supporting each other's content. And none of us in here are really making it big on YouTube, and we all want to grow together. So
absolutely.
we all want to grow. We all want, most of the people that come to my channel are willing to support the other people. So just make sure you support someone else. Go to their channel, let them know you were there. And I'm sure they'll come and go to your channel and check it out too. We all support each other and we spread the love. Ooh. Is that creepy? Ooh.
I don't think so. That's about perfect.
I got a good question for you. I don't know if it's good, but I'm going to ask you.
Ask away.
How do you feel about the state of the Nerf community right now?
I think we've never been in a better place, and I can only see good things in our future. Compared to when I first picked up a blaster. First of all, not knowing there was a community, and then finding a community, and then seeing how it's grown, not just in the UK but across internationally. The number of options that we have for motors now, specifically designed for Nerf flywheel blasters, is amazing. And the fact that we've got third-party companies injection molding shells specifically for third-party internals, hobby-grade blasters. That yes, it's expensive, but more competition will drive the prices down. So the amount of 3D printed parts that are available and becoming more readily available just adds an extra layer in there. I'm really excited about. Well, I've been really excited seeing how it's grown, and just seeing some of the other things that are coming out, like fully 3D printed blasters. Whilst they aesthetically might not be to my liking, that's a personal preference. I can appreciate the effort that's gone into them, and the technical side of getting it to work, and then being able to mass produce it for people who don't have access to a 3D printer. They can't just go and print the files themselves. The fact that the whole community is doing this normally for nothing. To start with, it'll be, I've got an idea, I want to try and do this thing, or this looks really cool, I'm going to try and do this but make it better. And then they provide the files for free, so that if you've got a friend with a 3D printer, you can go, can you do me this? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem. Or you can do mates rates and that kind of stuff. But just seeing the growth, not just in the number of events that are available in the UK. I'm not sure about the state of the things over your side of the pond, and if you've seen the same level of growth. But when I first joined, Bristol Blast wasn't even a thing, and there was probably maybe 1 or 2 regular events in the UK. Now there are probably double-digit regular events, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's huge for us. And we've got things like events in stadiums and in shopping centres or malls, and really unique venues like bunkers. The fact that we're able to do these things and we can see that it's growing, and that then leads to more growth, because other venues and other companies that didn't think that they could either make money or think that it was a good idea would see these things and go, oh, that's cool, I'd really like to be involved in that. And then they're just more open to it because they've seen it been done before. Somebody's taken that risk, somebody's taken that first step, and that's shown everybody else, oh, well, we could do that too. and they want a slice of the pie. So yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. And there's like, I think it's really interesting when people start things themselves. They try and start a group, themselves, and because I see so much, when I'm talking to people in the hobby, and they're saying, when they comment on my videos, and they'll say, "Oh, I wish this something like this was around here. I wish something like this was going on." I know, my friend Slater, he was in the same position. Like he liked the BTA stuff, and he's starting Quick Flag in New Zealand.
Excellent.
Yeah, Quick Flag New Zealand is he's I think it's he's trying to start for he's trying to have it starting in January of next year, hopefully. But yeah, I think that's just amazing when people start their own thing, their own thing going on, their own groups, their own games.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you just see that grow and grow and grow. It's just unreal, and it's hopefully that more people will take the initiative and try and build something up themselves, so that there is more things going on for people when they see it online, and then they could look it up and they'll see, oh wait, there's something that's right down the street from me.
Absolutely.
And actually, Treasy asked if he could get a mention for Foam Fest UK 2019.
Ah, yes, of course. So Foam Fest UK is the first UK foam con. So there's a 4-hour convention that's going to happen in a stadium in Wigan. It's on March the 9th, 2019. It's the first one in the UK. It's tied in with a FDT stadium event in Wigan. And you can go and have like 4 hours of wandering around the stalls and seeing what the UK Nerf scene's all about, meeting all of the people, and then you can go and do an actual Nerf event afterwards, which is really cool. So I'm Bristol Blast and Foam Fling and Skirmish, which we'll need to talk a bit more about, because that's the other side of our game / events. We're going to have a table there, and we're going to bring along all of our stuff and kind of show that off. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. Man. I wish I could go to that. I couldn't even afford to go to Endwar. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to afford to go to the UK. But that would be pretty cool. Boomtendo just mentioned about him and his darts that are coming up for his Boomco darts. He was asking if you had any feedback on if you heard about his darts that he's trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, I've heard about them, and I think they're an excellent idea. I don't have any Boomco darts, but I've been tagged by a couple. So and I've seen them, and they are very different. Say they're like the straws with the gummy bits on the top, and they fly like lasers if you've got the right blaster behind it. They're really accurate, but they're really expensive. So anything that can be done to mass produce off-brand darts at a cheaper price, then that's got to be good, because it makes those darts more accessible to people who want to use those blasters. If the one thing that's stopping you from using a Boomco blaster is because you've only got 10 darts that came with the blaster and you've lost them all, and you can't really get replacements because they're really expensive, then having a cheaper alternative's got to be good. If you look at the Nerf Elites, or Streamlines as they were, and all the different options that are available out there now at much lower prices, that's only got to be a good thing.
Definitely. I would like to see Boomco getting more, I'd like to see people to be able to get a third-party option for darts for Boomco like they have them for Nerf. You can get any kind of dart, any kind of Hasbro dart you want. You can get a third-party option on the discs, on the balls, on the AccuStrikes, on the Mega AccuStrike. You can get any kind you want. Just Boomco doesn't have that option. And I'm surprised it took so long for someone to say, we need a third-party option on this. So yeah, I really do hope that does take off. I hope you do get that Kickstarter going, Boomtendo. And if I'm not too broke, I'll try and get some, try and invest in some of that. No promises though. Do you see our hobby going mainstream at all? Like, do you see like Walmart carrying like Katana mags or something like that?
I don't know. I don't in the UK. I don't think so. If the demand is there in the US, then probably. But I don't think in the UK that's going to be at least not in the near future. We've only just, like, in the last probably 16, or actually probably 12 months, really launched into regular high-powered Nerf events, where katanas and those short darts really come into their own, because they're okay at sub 130 levels that we play at regularly, but we've only just started regular high-powered events where those blasters with the kind of 300 FPS limits that we've got can really take advantage of those half-length darts. I think eventually it may go mainstream, but I think by the point that it's going to go mainstream, we may have found something else that'll be the next level that we've moved to. So the hobby will always be a step ahead of mainstream, because we'll be doing things for us rather than to appease the masses.
Yeah, I agree. And even if we start, even if stores started selling blasters that were reaching the super high FPS marks, I mean, we're still going to get them and open them up and try and do
Absolutely.
something different.
And there's the legal issue with those as well. Particularly in the UK, you can't sell anything that's over. Well, you probably can, but you might need a license to do it. I think anything over 130 is classed as a Springer in particular, is like an air-barreled weapon, and it's illegal to have outside in a public place. So we've got some laws that we need to kind of comply with. And I'll do a small plug. I know Tom over at FDS. He says hello, by the way. He told me to say hello to you.
Foam Data Tom?
That's him. Yes, he says hello.
Oh, great! Yeah, tell him I said hi. I love him, man. Tom's awesome. He's helped me a lot.
Yeah, he's awesome. He absolutely is awesome. But he's released 2 videos over the weekend, I think, that specifically deals with that issue with, in the UK, in terms of what we can legally do with the law and what imitation blasters look like, and how powerful they can be before they start becoming private use only. So trying to sell something that's private use only in a store where a kid can go and pick it up potentially, that opens up a whole set of issues for us, and I can't see that happening. I think it's probably one of the reasons why the Cedar was shipped the way that it was, because it had to be below a certain FPS limit before it started becoming or being impacted by the local laws, because it would have been too powerful and they would have had to have done other things, which is why they made it really easy to swap stuff out. But they couldn't sell it to its full potential because legally they couldn't, I think.
I see. Sorry, my microphone stand keeps falling down on me, man. There's nothing for me to hook it to, so I'm kind of like trying to hold on to it. It's ridiculous. So, okay, so what is some of the negative aspects that you see in the community right now?
Ooh. I don't really see any negative aspects personally. You hear some anecdotes, and it's really little tiny gripey things. It's nothing major. It's like discussions around game dynamics or particular incidents in games, like players not taking their hits, and then there's a whole debate about whether they actually felt the hit because they're wearing a whole ton of gear, and then you have conversations around, should we call our hits? And then you get into a conversation around, well, do we need to have a standard word to use, because somebody might use one word and get confused with another word, and it's down into those proper nitty gritty kind of game dynamic type stuff, where you're trying to cope with all the different scenarios that could come up. And it's not necessarily a negative. It's the fact that these things are happening and we're having to deal with them is probably the negative. And sometimes, and I've probably not experienced it often, but I have experienced it. But players not taking their hits is very frustrating, particularly when you perhaps have tagged them in the head and you know that they've been hit. That can be frustrating. And genuinely, there will be times where you tag someone and they don't feel it.
Yeah,
I've done that. I've absolutely done that. But I've learned from that experience. There's, I think, it was one of the recent videos from Foam Pling and Skirmish. I was adamant that I hadn't been tagged, But looking at the footage from the other guy's angle, I absolutely did get tagged. And it's like, right, okay, well, I've learned from that. So I'm going to personally, if somebody calls a tag on me, I'll take the hit, I'll go and respawn, and then I'll get back in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas before I might have argued the point. And it's like, no, I want to play the game. And to be fair, like 99% of the people who are there want to play the game, and they'll just get on with it. I think we've been really lucky in the UK generally with the players who have stepped up and they've gone the extra mile to make things work. In terms of the negativity, I don't see an awful lot of it. There's not really, not with other hobbies like airsoft or paintball where they got these little clicks, and it can be quite what's the word? Negative's not strong enough a word, but they kind of at each other. They're like, oh, you can't do that because that's not this, and you have to do this to have fun. And it's like, no, Nerf is all about doing what you want to have fun, and not stopping other people from having their version of fun. Just because it's not what you want to do doesn't mean that it can't be part of the game. And everybody's really inclusive, and I love that about this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you said it. You said it really well there, man. You know,
Thank you.
It's up to you to have your own fun. You know, and it's supposed to be fun first and foremost. This is fun. It's toys. You know, come on.
Absolutely.
We're think things here.
we can flip that to the more serious aspect. I mentioned it earlier about foam fling and skirmish, and we haven't talked about that enough because Bristol Blast, kind of out of Bristol Blast, was born foam fling and skirmish, which is the other event that we run.
Okay.
Which is at the long game we talked about earlier. That was a foam fling and skirmish game, high powered FPS with loads of guys in camo running around a forest in an airsoft site shooting high powered blasters at each other. So you've got the family friendly fun, and then we've got the adult version of Nerfing, which is still Nerfing. But it's, you know, if somebody wants to get in full ghillie suit and sit in a bush for an hour and pretend to be a sniper, they absolutely can. There's, you know, there wasn't a space to do that regularly. There were one-off events where you could do high-powered Nerfing, but there wasn't a regular space where people could come together and use the things that they had built in an environment that was safe to do so. You couldn't bring something out that shoots 300 FPS and use it at Bristol Blast. One, it's dangerous. 2, our insurance wouldn't allow it. 3, the chapel would kick us out and we'd never be allowed back in. So you go, well, where can we do that? And credit to Dave R.A. for finding the space. Credit for L11 for building some of the games. And Fusion and myself, the 4 of us together, organising the events so that we can get all the modders with all their high-powered HPA blasters or high-powered springers into one place, split them up into teams and just go at it. That's the flip side, because the community is generally modding. They want to be building and painting and doing things. Some people are doing it just to paint it. Some people are doing just internals. But a lot of people want high-powered blasters, but there's nowhere to play. So that was one of the kind of holes, the gaps that we saw in the community, and it's filled quite nicely. We've had our 4th official, is that our 4th one? I can't remember. It might be our 4th one or our 3rd one. We've got a night game coming up. I think it's the end of next week. That should be interesting. Nerfing in the pitch black.
Nice.
And then another group up north recently on the weekend did a version of a high-powered Nerf. I think they're called Impact Northwest. So it's starting to spread. So they're looking to get a regular game up and running where there's a space for them to be able to do something similar. Not exactly the same. Every game will be different and they'll have different game dynamics, but it's spreading. So you're going to have these sub 130 games where it's proper family friendly fun because you're not going to get damaged. And then you've got the airsoft equivalent of Nerf without the, for want of a better word, dicks. Sorry for maybe curfew word, but that's rule 1. Rule 1, don't be a dick. Just, you know, let people do what they want as long as they're following the rules set by the game organizers and they're not harassing anybody. Then you get out there, you get on with it, you have fun. If there's some kind of disagreement with over how something happened, generally it will be resolved by just going to respawn and starting again. Simple. If you're not sure, just both go and respawn. Nothing's too far away. It's like 30 seconds to walk to your respawn. Then you can get back into it. It's just take your hit, or if you're not sure, take it anyway, get back in. And we've had some brilliant games. Attack the Fort is super fast. You've probably seen some of the footage from that with the smoke grenades.
Yeah,
There's
freaking
nowhere
awesome.
else we can do that. There's nowhere else we can do. You couldn't do that in the chapel. That, funny as it would be, you couldn't do that in the chapel. But at an airsoft site, they've got license to use pyro. We're going to use pyro. The long game, running around for 2 hours. There's not many places that you could do that for constantly. In a space that's big enough to allow you to do that, and it's great that we've got that.
That's killer, man. That's really good. So what's the future for your channel, dude? What's coming up on your channel? What are some things that you have planned?
Ooh, well, I want to finish off this long shot series that I started. I've got loads more gameplay. I've got at least 4 that I haven't started yet. 3 of them are really, really quick games, so they're probably out in the next couple of weeks. But long term, it's pretty much more of the same. I might change up the way that I do some of the gameplay and drop in a couple of highlights videos rather than full gameplay videos. I don't know. It depends on what the people want. Mainly the channel, it started off to share the gameplay, and then it evolved into, I quite like editing, so I'm going to focus on my own editing skills. And it's very similar to that. So every time I do a video, I try and do something new. I try and push my skills a little bit, and some of the things people won't notice, and that's probably good, because if you notice that I've done something, I haven't done it very well. It's supposed to be subtle. I really like doing things, silly little things like with a tag indicator. If a player moves behind a wall, the tag disappears behind the wall with the player. Really subtle little things like that, and it's really silly. I know it's there, but not everybody's going to notice it. Not everybody's going to see it, but I know it's there.
Yeah.
And it's just learning how to use the software to make the footage look the best that it can. That's what I'm trying to, in terms of what the channel's allowing me to do, is push those skills. I'm going to continue probably more of the same. I did have an idea that I think Nerf Printed Hobbies did something similar recently, which was to do a video which showed how I've kind of edited my footage to look like it does, because I've done some things I don't think everybody does, and I'd like to share that, and people can take it if they want, they can ignore it, but there's some things that I've learned that I think make the footage look better, or at least my footage look better. It might not work for everybody, but if people don't know that the options are there, you kind of go, well, this is what I do. And if you don't like it, that's fine. If you do like it, that's also fine. But you will have learned something that you could perhaps take away and then go and apply to your own channel or your own videos. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really focused on channel growth. I've never. It's not really ever been about the channel, if that makes sense. It's been very selfish. It's been all about me. And what I'm trying to do with my edits. And then it was like, well, I can share this with people. If people want to see it, then that is absolutely great. But the channel is about sort of allowing me a platform to just show what I've done. But if nobody watches it, I'll watch it. I'll be happy watching it myself. And it's just one of those things that I don't really think about. And it's a tool that lets me share stuff. I don't think of it as I need to get to 200 subs. I need to get to 250 subs. I need to get to 1,000 subs. I don't approach it that way. If I get them, great. I'm really happy for every subscriber that I have. Really grateful for them and the support that they've shown. And I sort of I don't want to push it out. I don't want to be seen to be selling it, if that makes sense. I want the growth has been very organic, and other channels have shared what I've done, which I'm very grateful for, like Aldos and his weekly Nerf War roundup, or weekly Nerf roundup, has been great. I love being featured on there. Same with Jangular. He's featured me on a couple of his videos, and that's automatically boosted views and subs, which is great. But for me, it's all about if you find my channel and you like it, then subscribe to it. I'm not going to throw it out there. I'm not making any money off of it. I don't ever intend to. The only thing, I think I was having a really nerdy conversation with Aldos around whether monetizing the YouTube channel affects the number of kind of the way that YouTube would prioritize your video or push your content out there. And I think we came to the conclusion that YouTube doesn't know what it's doing. And
yeah, I come to that conclusion.
Yeah. So whilst because YouTube's really silly. When I looked at my channel settings, it's like, oh, you're eligible for monetization. I was like, well, I don't really want to do that. But if I'm being prohibited from getting out there by not clicking the button, well, I'll click the button. So I clicked the button and it went, no, this is the partnership program. And I knew that I wasn't eligible for that because I don't have enough views or subs to even be considered. So I was like, well, why are you saying I'm eligible for this thing when I'm clearly not? And I've just wasted some time thinking about this, and I could have just ignored it completely and gone, I am what I am, and I'm happy with what I am. I don't need to even think about what you're doing to my channel because I can't impact or change any of that. So I'll just ignore it because there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, we've been on the, hey, PKL Nerf's here. Thank you for showing up, PKL Nerf. Also Sky Demon. Skyheart Demon, thanks for showing up. I appreciate you coming by and showing your support. We've been here with Newport Nerfer 113. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about while you're here? Since probably about time to cut it off.
I'll do one thing, and that is we recently ordered these. They literally came today, and you might have seen them on our channel, but we've got these business cards that I just want to show off that are just really cool. I don't know if you can see them or if the light's in the way.
Yeah, the light was kind of, it just looked like a white card.
Yeah, well, one of them is a white card with Phone Playing and Skirmish on it. Let me see if I can.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's one of them, and then the flip side is that one. And they are going to be on the table at Foam Fest. We thought it's only something small. We haven't got tons of cash, but we can invest in something that somebody can pick up and take away, a little memento to remember Bristol Blast and Foam Fling and Skirmish by. They've got our contact details on there. If they want to come and visit us on Facebook, they can do. If they want to drop by the forum, they can do. There's loads of ways to contact us: YouTube, Facebook, forum, you name it, we're everywhere. You can get in contact with us. And it was just, I just thought it was worth sharing. It's just something that's kind of neat and kind of cool that, I don't know, it's just, I don't know what it is about business cards. They don't really do anything or mean anything, but they can be kind of cool rather than just, here's my details, go and put them in your wallet and forget about me.
Oh yeah, they look amazing, man. That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Great, man. Thank you so much for showing up and taking time out of your day.
Thank you for spending some time with me. It's been really good, actually. I was quite nervous when I first kind of said I was going to do it. Like, have I made the right decision? And I absolutely have. This was brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I loved having you on here. You're a great dude. I love your footage that you put out, and just keep doing what you do, my friend.
I will. And you. I want to see more of these series. Get whoever you need to on here. Get them on there.
Tell Tom to come on here then.
Oh, you might need a bit longer than 2 hours with Tom.
Awesome.
He's got a lot. He will have a lot of things to say. All good, but a lot of things to say.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Newport.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for who showed up today. And we got a lot of good questions today. We had actually a lot of questions that came into the chat. People had a lot to say, which was awesome. Usually there's just a few questions and that's it. And today there was people had things to ask. So that was great. I'm here holding the mic stand because the microphone didn't want to hook onto the table or the chair here. I'm actually in the church conference room here. You see, oh, shoot, almost turned off the camera. I'm actually in the conference room. Look at me. I feel like I'm a bigwig here. I don't want to mess everything up now. But yeah, hey, if you guys want to get a shirt, I got shirts. Can you see that? What? Broke Nerfing. I give a shirt. Look at that. Look at that. Ain't that sweet? Yeah. You could go to my Etsy. If you guys want to get a t-shirt, they're $20 plus shipping on my Etsy right now. I signed up for an Etsy store. So go ahead and in the about section of my channel here, there's a little link, or it's on if you're using a laptop or a PC or something, you could click the banner, my banner for the channel. It has the little the little links in there for like my Twitter and the Instagram and my face. It's all there's a link for the Etsy there if you guys want to check out one of these shirts. You want to get one of them. It would help your boy eat. It would help your boy get his electric bill paid. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I would appreciate it if you guys would help me out. Speaking of that, I have Patreon. If you guys want to get a shout out in my videos, you can get up to 3 shout outs in my videos a month, and also have your links in the descriptions of my videos 3 times a month. And I usually do it more than that. That's for the tier 3 patrons. That's like $5 a month, and you get shout outs like multiple times a month. Your links in the description. Or you can do like the $1 patron and you get a shout out once a month, or the $2 patron where you get a shout out and your link in the description as well, just not as much as the tier 3s. But it all helps me out. Any little bit of support you guys can do, it helps me out so much. The link is in the about section of this page. If you want to become a patron, I'm going to add some more tiers on there with some more like raw footage and things like that you guys could look at. Also, if you can't help me on Patreon, you don't want to sign up for Patreon, I also have PayPal. PayPal is in the description of it's in the about section of this channel, is my PayPal as well, and I will hook you up with the same tiers depending on how much you want to help me out with. All of that really helps me out get things like this microphone, which I'm holding up, helps me out with get things like cameras and t-shirts. You know what I mean? It just helps me out with a lot of things, helping me build my channel. And I'm just trying to build this channel up and trying to build this community up. So it just helps everybody in the community so much. And if you want to help me out and you can't help monetarily, just make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the content if you do like it, comment and share the videos as well. That helps so much. You guys have been so supportive. I appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome. Thanks to everybody who came to the chat today. Boom Friendo, Boom Tendo, Boss Martin. Hey, Boss Martin, what's up? I didn't see you there. Good to see you. Treasy. Big shout out to all the folks, Impact Northwest, all the folks who came out to Impact Northwest on the weekend. Right on, man. Shouting you out now, bro. Wolfpack Nerf. He's a good dude. Go check out his content. He does some pretty cool mods. Check him out too, man. He's really cool. Check out Boom Tendo. Check out PKL Nerf. Check out Aldos. Aldos has some really great gameplay footage as well. So yeah, Clowny Nerf, really great mods. Check him out too. And my YouTube just crashed. I apologize. So I try and shout everybody out. I'm sure I shouted you out during the interviews. Shout out to Jangular. Jangular put your boy, the broke brother, up on his channel. His weekend Nerf, that was really cool. His weekend Nerf series that he does. He put my channel, he put my series on there, which was awesome. It was a really big surprise to me, and it was a really cool thing for him to do to help this, really helping my channel and helping the community as well. I'm just trying to get as many unique people as I can, unique, interesting people in this hobby that are doing really cool and amazing things. So if you're doing really cool, unique, amazing things, if you're a well-known person in this hobby, or you're doing something really cool, you're doing something interesting and amazing to help grow this community, I want to talk to you. If you're just someone that's like reviewing blasters here and there on YouTube, and you that's all you're doing, and you're like, don't really, you're not really having, if you don't really have anyone watching and everything, it's, I don't know if I'd put you on here. But if you're doing something cool, like if you're doing something really trying to grow the community out, setting up games, doing something that's getting attention, you're doing things, inventing something, putting something together, doing something good for us, something different, then it's a good chance I'll want to talk to you and have you on here. So yeah, if you know anybody you think I should talk to, put that in the comments below. as well. So yeah, thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome to me. And I'm gonna go and get me some of that meatloaf that I have in my fridge right now. New day with us. I probably missed a lot, but I thought dropping by and throw some support. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it. You guys are great. Thanks so much for the shout out. No problem, man. Make sure you guys like the video as well. When like the video, comment on my videos as well if you can. Commenting, sharing them, all that stuff. And I try and support everybody who comments on my videos too. I try and support you guys back. That's just what I do, and I try and make sure everybody supports each other in the chat. So if you see someone talking in the chat, go check out their stuff, man. Go say hi to them. Let them know you were there. Let them know I sent you. So yeah, thanks so much, everybody. Again, I have videos coming out soon. I have a tactical vest from Tactical X-Men that I just received a couple days ago. I'm going to be doing some field testing on that, and I'll have a video on that soon. So thanks so much, guys. Oh yeah. Remember,